Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Javier with The Real Javier Novoa, coming to you tonight with our first installment here in the series of how to manifest anything in 3 days. And ladies and gentlemen, just last night I got the inspiration to make a series on this, and also inspiration for how to unfold and where to guide the Real Javier Novoa channel and JN Consulting as a community in the coming weeks and months. And so we are going to be setting up a retreat, and the first retreat is going to be focused around manifesting in 3 days. And so we are working out the logistics and the location for that. So look forward to news on this and stay tuned to my channel for news on this. As always, if you find my material of value, please subscribe and like to The Real Javier Novoa so that you can get all of the updates and notifications of my new videos, and also so we can get this information out to as many people as possible. So why manifesting in 3 days? Because as we know from spiritual teachers and from this modality, the modality of bringing manifestations from the spiritual to the physical, we know that time is really an illusion. In fact, as physicists have taught us, every single moment of time is only one moment, just from a different point of view. That's a very interesting topic to wrap your head around. And I wouldn't try to wrap your head around it. I would simply try to receive it and meditate and contemplate on it until you come to that deep knowing that this is the fact. And when you know this, ladies and gentlemen, you'll know that time is not of importance. But 3 days is a very symbolically significant number. It's found in all of the scriptures of the great religions, especially in the Bible and the Quran. We know that Yunus, for example, or Jonah, was for 3 days in the belly of the fish. We know that Jesus said that the temple would be destroyed and he would rebuild it within 3 days. So it has a very rich symbolic meaning which already inspires us to use that as a focal point. Another reason is that many of us, especially those of us who have been in the law of attraction or New Thought movement, many of us have had desires which we've been trying to accomplish. We've been trying to apply the tools and the principles of these philosophies to accomplish them, and for whatever reason or the other, we've simply come upon resistance and we have not accomplished those goals. So a lot of these goals or intentions either have generated more resistance and more frustration or have become stale. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to utilize this 3-day opportunity for manifesting anything that you want within 3 days to break these energetic blocks and begin to flow these desires to accomplishment. And then when you do see them manifest in the physical, it simply gives you more confidence and then more motivation to continue utilizing the processes. And that's the case in anything. It's the case, for example, when people go on a diet. When they see results of the diet, they'll stick to that diet. So too, when you see results in this process, you'll want to implement the tools, techniques, and strategies that we lay out because you're seeing results. If you can prove it to yourself that it can happen in 3 days, then you will be set up for life, so to speak, to implement these modalities. So what I want to do is basically go into an abbreviated version. I'm going to make shorter videos because it seems that the majority of viewers on these channels like YouTube and BitChute, they appreciate shorter videos. They appreciate more concise videos because their time is valuable. I know that. Of course, I am going to continue making longer videos because I know that there are a certain group of people who want to take deep dives with me into these topics. But the majority of videos are going to be a little bit shorter. I'm going to try to keep them below 15 minutes. these are going to be videos that you can take and apply to your situation immediately. And for those of you who do want to go deeper, we will have deep dives. And also, I am going to be setting up my consultation call modality very soon, and you will be hearing about this. So, none of this is scripted as far as this 3-day manifesting methodology, because it came to me yesterday right after I awoke from sleep. I was just told you need to implement this new 3-day methodology, which is not new, but it's new to our channel. So, and of course, I am developing curriculum for the retreat, but that is flowing through me. And a lot of it will be based on these abbreviated videos. But I want to give you tools that you can take and use right now to try to prove it to yourself. So I want to be straight up right up front. Manifesting something in 3 days does not necessarily mean that it will all be complete as you see it in your mind in 3 days. No, it could happen and it's possible. But what manifestation within 3 days means is that you will move from doubting it to having hope in it, to believing it, to being absolutely sure that that thing has already happened within 3 days, and then it will manifest in its own natural time frame, which will be very quick. Because the way manifestation works is this. When you have a desire, the universe automatically gives you that. It is done, it is done, it is done. And it is completely created in full form in a certain dimension in the universe. What your job is simply to get out of your own way and to do whatever you can to tune into the frequency of that. It's like a radio, basically. When you tune into the frequency and you are in that frequency, then it must occur on the physical, for that is the law, ladies and gentlemen. So the only barrier that you have to it is to look at reality and say, oh, why has this not happened yet? Then that slows it down. So the whole point of the 3-day exercise, because usually a lot of us have so many emotional blocks, and the universe is always sending it to us in a way that can get around our emotional blocks. But if we continue to think in ways which brings up the emotional block again, if you don't have the tools to say that we teach in this course, observing the emotion, observing it as a feeling and allowing it to dissolve, and these other tools, trying to convince yourself, soothing yourself, and so on and so forth, then what will happen is you'll keep running into these negative emotions, and every time you run into it, it will compound and get bigger and bigger, therefore setting off your intention or goal into the future. At that point, the only choice is to simply give up, and then it can come into your reality, or you can hold it apart from you for the rest of your life. And of course, when you pass away, all resistance is released and you'll receive all of that. But in this life, we're looking to receive these in this experience, in this life. So the point of the 3-day modality is to get you very focused and to teach you tools and techniques that you can apply to basically get around these emotional barriers. You're not necessarily going to change the thought patterns, although you can do that too. But this is going to give you tools to go around them and to allow a path to develop in the universe to get that to you. In this modality, we're not asking how does it come to us, because the minute we know how, as Joe Dispenza says, it gets out of the unknown and becomes a part of the known, and then it's simply a matter of Newtonian physics. It's a matter of applying your reason and your effort, which is good for certain things, and it's fun, but it's not what we want when we're trying to create something bigger. Because when we're trying to create something bigger, most of the time, we're not going to have any idea how to create that. For example, if you're poor and you want to create $1 million company, you're perhaps starting out, by definition, you're not going to be on the vibration of that, and you're not going to have any idea about how to accomplish that. So, what we're going to do during this 3-day process is we're going to get very, very crystal clear on what it is you want. So clear that we can dissolve it down into a single statement or a single scene. And we're going to simplify it as much as possible. We're going to chunk it down as much as possible. Then we're going to focus on that. And basically, we're just going to continue focusing on it again and again. We're going to hit it and hit it and hit it. And we're going to come around. When those negative emotions come up, we're going to figure out a way to get around these negative emotions so that the universe can create a pathway towards everything we want. So the first step, ladies and gentlemen, is to get yourselves a notebook like this, a cheap notebook it could be, and you need to journal, ladies and gentlemen. What I want you to do, if you're going to start doing this 3-day modality on your own, first of all, the best way to do this is to try to take a literal 3-day retreat. Try to take off work for 3 days if you can. Try not to schedule any appointments or major events. If you're with your family, you might not be able to do this. Indeed, I'm not able to do this, usually. But you might want to go to another place, perhaps a hotel or some sacred place where you can stay for 3 days. Because basically, ladies and gentlemen, what you're trying to do during this 3-day process is insulate yourself. But if you can't, that's okay too. You can simply take more time than you usually do, even if it's only 1 or 2 hours a day. For these 3 days, you can cancel appointments, you can cancel hobbies, you can put off that TV show or that book for 3 days in order to prove this to yourself. Do that, and then use that time that you were going to use to bear out the process. So the first step is going to be journaling. What I want you to do is I want you to just sit and I want you to try to get into the alpha state. It's very important that you do this for that. You can take some deep breaths. You can look up into the horizon, and I do have a video on how to get into alpha on my channel, and you can look for that. Take a few deep breaths and get into alpha state. And then what I just want you to ask yourself is, what is something that I really want to accomplish that has high importance to my life, and something that is at least 30% believable that I could see traction on in the next 3 days? And then you just write. I want you to write. Maybe you don't know what it is, so you can say, what do I like? What is the thing that if I could accomplish it in 3 days, it would have the highest impact upon my life and it would move things forward? For a lot of you, it's going to be related to career, it's going to be related to business, it's going to be related to finances. What if I could make $7,000 a month, but without having to be somewhere? We're going to eventually couch these in completely positive terms, because the universe does not hear no or I do not want to. But in the beginning, how can I make $7,000 a month without working? I don't want to work. Of course, that's a negative statement in itself, and there are emotions related with that, but we're going to sort that out. But for now, just keep writing. And I don't need to know how it's going to happen, because what we're going to do is we're simply going to make a statement of what do you want. And I want you to journal on that. And it could take a few hours, it could take a few days before we start the 3-day actual process, and that's okay, because it's very important that you get this to a clear, succinct statement, because we are going to make a statement of intention. So just journal about it, and I'm going to be making a whole other video about journaling, about how to journal, about prompts for journaling, but basically just ask yourself questions. Okay, what do I really want? Well, I want $7,000 a month. Well, why do I want that? What would I do after I had that? Well, perhaps I want to have complete control of my own schedule so that I could sleep later and then read in the morning, and then I'd have more time to spend with my family that day. Flesh that out in great detail, because that within itself is going to stimulate your creative juices and your imaginative juices, and it's going to pivot you into that modality. This in itself, ladies and gentlemen, may be enough to start that momentum. So that's basically the first step. You want to journal and you want to allow your mind to run free. There's no barriers here, because it is a reality on a certain dimension already. When you have a general desire, the universe already has it generally. But when you flesh it out, and life's going to help you flesh it out, ladies and gentlemen, through negative emotions. But you can also do it on your own through journaling. Journaling is the ultimate tabletop exercise, if you will. Many great military minds, before they would start campaigns or go on campaigns, they would have war games and tabletop exercises. Well, this is your tabletop exercise. But we're not planning on how to get there. We're simply planning on what we want and what's going to happen when we are the person that has that, after it has occurred. So I want you to get very clear on what you want and very clear on what you want to happen, what circumstances you want to surround you after that has occurred, when that is flowing into your life. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that's the first step of our 3-day manifestation process. We will be releasing more videos on this very soon tomorrow. This weekend, I'm going to be releasing some very interesting videos. So please stay tuned to The Real Javier Novoa for that. And as always, please subscribe to my channel, like, because it's the way we get the word out. Until very soon, with great love and great appreciation, this is Javier. Have a great night. See you soon.